Hello. Welcome to another exciting edition of Sarah Peasley Hand Knitter Facebook Live Monday at 5, right? Right, good. Phew. Trying to open a box without hurting herself. Welcome. Oh, yeah, that was necessary. Okay, good. Yeah, so hi. I have made a list of things to talk to you about today. It's very exciting in my mind. Ooh, comments already. Hi, Diane. Hi, Fran. Okay, now I can start because Diane and Fran are here. I hope that I bought the right thing, first of all. That's not right. Oh, that's right. But it's not what I thought I was. Okay. It's not what I thought I was looking for, but it is what I ordered. You know, you get a new computer and then it doesn't take the right connections anymore. Yeah. And I think that's what I need for that, but not for that. Oh my God. Okay. So we're good. I think we're good. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to have not as many cords, but the right cords. And so I had to buy more cords. I don't know. So excitement for today. The most exciting thing probably that will happen to me today is, ooh, hi Anna. I'm going to bind off for the second time on my poncho. Since we last spoke, I did, so this was the end of the poncho and I bound off and I had yarn left over, which, you know, it's fine. You're not always going to use, you're never ever really going to use exactly the right amount of yarn, although sometimes you do. It's called yarn chicken. So I unbound off and then I took out the 2 extra rows that you do after the pattern rows. And then I tried to be, something's floating around here. I tried to be really scientific and did this. I went, okay, that's about a yard, that's about 2 yards. And I thought 20-ish yards when I did that. So I estimated, and you know, you've seen me do math in my head, on the fly. It's bad. It's not a good thing. So I did that. I had 20-ish yards, I think I remember. And so I calculated that and then I did a row. And no, I didn't do it that way. Okay, let's try again, because I'm trying to maybe teach you something here. Learn from me, little ones. So a general rule that I follow, and this comes into play mostly with long tail cast on, when you're like, I don't know how long a tail to pull out, and then you run out and you're mad. So the general rule I follow is to pull out, get ready. Did I get it? An inch per stitch. This will be fun. An inch per stitch for like worsted weight and smaller. So with that, and then, you know, usually that's more than you need, and that's great because I'd rather have a tail than run out of yarn during my long tail cast on. So with that in mind, there are 83 stitches across this row. So that's like 2 yards ish. I mean, it's more than 2 yards. So I did a long stretch for like a yard because I knew that was more than a yard. And did you know, by the way, please hold. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, all right. Hi. Did you know that from your nose, I might have done this for you before, to the end of your arm is approximately a yard? Mine is, I think, 36. Oops, 32. Oh, 30. Yeah, 36 is a yard. I meant 32 because mine's about 4 inches shy. So when I do a yard, let's do it this way. I know I've done this before on Facebook Live. So I usually will go like that and then turn a little bit. And is that 36? It's close. So that's my very scientific measuring off of a yard. So 83 stitches is 2 yards. 36 plus 36 is 72. So it's more than 2 yards. but I was being extra generous. So I counted 20-ish yards very scientifically and 2 per row. And then there's 2 rows at the end plus the bind off, and I was just going to say that was 4 rows. So 2 yards per row approximately. And I had at the end about 4 rows that I had to have available to finish up with. So that's 8 yards. And I thought I had 20, so that left 12 yards. Nope. I don't know. See, I'm already... So 12 yards maybe. So I calculated that I could do 2 more 4-row repeats because 2 of those rows are a different color. With me? I'm not. So I did that. I did 2 more repeats, and then I measured and I had that 20 yards left again. So I was really confused. So I did 2 more repeats, and then I'm just done. So because like now I'm gonna have not enough yarn. So from here, which was the end in real life, I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 V's, which is 30 rows extra, I think. And I already did that, so I had 14 because I already did the 2 extra rows, and now I just have to bind off. Isn't this a fascinating story? So I already found a crochet hook in approximately the right size. I like to bind off with a crochet hook. And I'm supposed to be binding off in pearl because it says so. Oh boy. And I'm not wearing the glasses for doing anything. I'm wearing the glasses for looking at the computer. So we're gonna purl. So I like to bind off with a crochet hook in my right hand. Purl, because then I can just go bloop. Okay, I don't know if you saw that or not. So I purl, and then I go bloop. Did you see the bloop? And then I go purl, and then I go bloop. So the little bloops are much easier than getting the needle in my left hand and which I just did, and maneuvering this one stitch over the other stitch. Now I can just bloop them over and it's much easier. Although sometimes I forget I'm blooping and I still do the old-fashioned way. So when I have a lot to bind off, like, oh, say 83 stitches, this is what I like to do. So I'm going to do this while I talk to you and hopefully not screw up because I've already bound off once before. Okay, so I have a list. Let's see what the list says. Oh, that's not the right list. Crap. I put my list in a very special place. I have no idea where it is. That's hilarious. Does anybody have my list? Hold on. It's not that one. It's not that one. There it is. I just wrote it, but it was the 4th piece of paper down. And then it had a pattern on top of it and a pen and a gauge binder. What's this called? Needle gauge. Boy, oh boy. All right, so now I have my list. And this is one of the things I was going to talk to you about. So phew, I'm right on track. While we bind off purlwise, am I binding off purlwise? Yes. I'm going to talk to you about what happened yesterday. Yesterday, I taught a class on the Zoom from right here, and it was on crochet. And it's a 2-part class, so I have another part next week. But I was very excited to put together a brand new class that I've never taught before. Oh boy. I haven't put a brand new class out in I don't know how long. It's been forever because I don't remember. And so I was very excited to be I do research. Like I surround myself with my books and I have yarn and sometimes a needle, but this time it was a hook. And I just sat on the couch with Clara, and sometimes we had to go for walks and sometimes we had to have snacks, but otherwise we played with the crochet hook and wrote our notes and figured out the order that things go in. And I had 5 people in my class last night, and I thought it went pretty well. I don't know if they know that they knew it was a brand new class, but I don't know if they knew that it was my first crochet class that I've ever taught. So yay me. And I thought it went well. So there, I'm going to put down my binding off. So we learned a slip knot, and we learned a chain stitch, and we learned, oops, oh boy, we learned single crochet, and we learned single crochet through the back loop, and we learned half double crochet. Oh wait, that's not half double crochet. Crap. Blue. See, I had samples. we learned half double crochet, and then we did half double crochet again, and then we did double crochet. And they are supposed to be doing some practice on those swatches. They all look the same to me today. I don't know. That's another single crochet. Because I had done my own, and then I did some with the class, and I don't remember which color is which. So all kinds of fun things. Maybe that's the double crochet. I forget. And then next weekend, in week 2, we're going to put together what we learned, which was more than just the stitches, and we're going to do granny stripes. This is the swatch from my blanket. Remember my blanket? And granny squares, that's downstairs. And that'll be exciting. So they will have learned, you know, how to do the things and then what they can do with the things. Oh, hi, Debbie. Thanks. Never taught crochet before. Could you tell? No, I had fun, and I've got notes ready to send probably a half hour after this is over, getting those ready. Yes, Debbie was in my class. And it was nice. I hadn't seen her for a long time. I had a local friend who I haven't seen for a long time, and then I had some other Stitches people. So it was nice to get Stitches people, like get some crossover between my worlds, my knitting worlds. So yeah, I taught a crochet class. I have to keep binding off. And it's funny because, you know, it's just like with knitting. You're told this is how you do the thing. And then you find somebody who says, or you can do, oh, am I knitting or crocheting? I mean, purling. They say, this is how you do the thing, so you do the thing that way because that's what they said. And then somebody else says, oh, no, you have to do it this way, so then you do it that way. And then somebody else says, why are you doing it that way? You should be doing it this way. And so, you know, people think that they know what's right when there's just really options, and you get to choose what's right. So there was the way that you knit. It's called crochet, Sarah. The way that you crochet into the initial chain, you make a chain and then you're off and running, is different. I mean, you can do it at least 3 different ways. You can go under the chain, you can go under the bump on the back, or you can go under a combination of the chain and the bump. So which one's right? Well, it depends on what book you read, because of the 3 books I looked at first, each one said a different thing. So it's like, okay, it's just like knitting. We just have our choices and then off you go. So I think that's good to know. And everybody in there had taken knitting classes with me before, so I knew they were all knitters, so I could say some things in knitting terms like this looks like a knit stitch and that looks like a purl stitch. So I had fun. I was able to, late, because it's me, but I was able to get some proposals in for stitches for April and May. March, I did February. March is the one in Sacramento, the live show, which is, I think, in 2 weekends. I'm not going to be at that one. And then I didn't get a thing in for a thing being a proposal in for April. So I'm not teaching in April. And so I kind of whined, and they let me submit late proposals for May and June. So they're busy with, I think the April stuff just came out, and they've got March is happening soon. So like, that's why I could buy a little time. So I sent some proposals in for that. Nothing new, because who has time to do a new class? I do. That was fun. I should submit that one. I'll submit that one too. So that's that I did. And then I had said that I would teach for an in-person thing in April. I was approached a couple weeks ago and I said yes. And then so over the weekend, there was an event in Tacoma, Washington called Red Alder, which is, if you're familiar with that, that's great. If you're familiar with Madrona, this isn't the same thing, but it's in the same place that Madrona used to happen. And that in February or March of 2020 is the second to last time I taught in person. And the last time I taught in person was the next weekend I went to Stitches West in Santa Clara. So that was the last place I taught at an event with people. And so I was so that happened this past weekend, and I was looking at pictures, and it looked exactly the same as when I was there, except people were wearing masks. And otherwise it looked exactly the same, and it freaked me out. I have to tell you, it freaked me out. So I had agreed. So last night and this morning, I'm like, I agreed to teach at this in-person thing, and it's not till end of April, but I was still freaking out about it. And I wrote to the person today. I hadn't signed a contract, but I had said yes. And I backed out because I'm sorry, I can't. It's too soon. So that's the sad story about that. So I put in my newsletter that I sent out, I don't know, a week ago. I hinted that I'd be teaching in person, and that is now not true because I know I'm not ready, and I don't think I don't need to justify it. I think I need to justify it, but I don't need to justify it. I'm wrong. And in a similar story, I went to a restaurant last Friday and ate at a table inside, and that freaked me out. I haven't done that in a long time. I tried with my son a year or so ago, a couple times. I just wasn't comfortable. So I went on Friday, and sometimes I forgot that there were people there and nobody was wearing their masks. The staff was all wearing their masks very nicely. Everything was lovely. I got confused that they kept not bringing a menu, and when I asked why, that I said that I needed a menu, the wait person pointed to the table and there was a sticker that has a QR code, and I was like, oh, so that's a thing now. Okay, can I just have a menu? So they had menus, and I was like, when I knew I was going to go out to lunch, it was supposed to be at a different restaurant, and I knew what I wanted to get, and I was so excited because it was something I haven't had in over 2 years. And then it turned out that restaurant wasn't open at the last minute for whatever reason, so a different restaurant was used, and so I had to start from scratch. I hate making decisions. I want to eat all the things, but which one do I want to eat, because I haven't been out in so long. So I looked at the menu after we got the menu, and I came to a decision, and of course they were out of that. So I was like, I don't care. I had a quesadilla, which I could make myself, but it was very, very good. Yeah, it was very good. The conversation was better. So that was nice. It was nice to go to a restaurant. It was nice to sit and talk to somebody, but every once in a while I'd look around and go, oh my God, we're all sitting here without masks on. So it's not time for me yet. I'm still anxious about it. So, there you go. Just putting that out there. I'm not right and I'm not wrong. I'm me. But that pen doesn't work. So let me cross things off. I said that. I'm working on that. I did say that. I'm working on, I don't know if I told you this last week, because maybe it hasn't started last week, but I have I decided I want to freshen up my logo. I don't have it right near me. Maybe I do. My logo, it's boxes, 4 boxes, red and green and purple and blue, and it says Sarah Peasley and then hand knitter in Futura font. It's very bold, and all caps, and I don't feel that way anymore. I don't feel bold in all caps. Thank you, Fran. Yeah. I mean, I know I don't have to justify, but you feel like you have to justify. But it's weird to actually try to go out in public and then freak out. I mean, I did it. I stayed, but I don't know what I was talking about. My logo. So I'm not the same person I was when I had that logo made. I'm older, and I'm in recovery, and I'm more easygoing, and I'm calmer, and I have a plan. My mission statement has evolved. The word empowerment, the word confidence, the word helpful, the word joy, not that kind of, not like throwing everything out in your closet joy, but like actual joy. And I don't think that the stacked boxes in the bright bold colors with the all caps reflect that. I think that was me trying to declare my presence as a business, and now I want to I don't know. So I talked to a local artist friend of mine, and it turned out this was not a job that she wanted. So another person who I've never met, another artist, was recommended to me, and I sent them an initial poke, and they answered back, and then I told them briefly, here's what I'm going to need. The last time I got a logo made, did I tell you guys this story? The first and last time I tried to get a logo made, it took over 6 months, and it took me fighting against the fact that the artist wanted me to send pictures of things that I liked, and I didn't have any idea of what pictures I liked. I sent words for 6 months, and finally after 6 months she's like, can you just send me some pictures? And I did, and she banged out my logo, and I loved it. So this time I wanted to let the artist tell me what she wants me to do. And I told her last time for 6 months we used words and it didn't work. And so she asked for pictures. So I said, I'm just going to sit here and you tell me what you want. And she wrote back, she said, send me words. And I'm like, yay! So I started writing that email. And we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it won't take 6 months. I think I'm less stubborn in that way, and more open to seeing what I don't know, I kind of know what I want it to look like. We'll see, but I started that process because I found somebody, and I am in the middle of writing the email. Look what I just did. Writing the email with the words in it. Okay, first I want to see how stretchy this might be, whether it's stretchy enough. Oh yeah, okay, so now we'll fasten off. Oh, I have lots of yarn left over. Let's take that out and do another. Okay, see, lots of yarn. Need some for a seam, but it's not a very big seam. Here's my corner. Oh boy, that's how I was binding off. Okay. So here we go. Whoop. 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 There it is. And it's, 3 inches longer than it was supposed to be, but that's okay. And I have to block it and sew it. And it's done. It's already really, let me think of the word. It feels warm. It feels lofty, but that sounds like a word you'd use to describe the way the yarn is spun, but it's got squish to it because it's brioche. It feels soft. I don't even remember, does this one have half alpaca, or is it all wool? Oh, yep, it's half alpaca. That's probably why. Yep, 50% wool. Whoop. Can you, come on, Mr. iMac. All right. Anyway, wool and alpaca, American wool, and then it just says alpaca, so perhaps those were imports. Squishy. It feels squishy. That's how it feels. I'm looking forward to, should we take out the pins? Let's take out the pins. That's kind of exciting. And so while I take out the pins, I will tell you that, so logo, was I done talking about the logo? Yeah, stay tuned. And the logo, the thing I need, I need something that can go on the top of my class notes. I don't happen to have any class notes right here, even though I just taught a class. Do I? Maybe there's some in here. It's kind of a miracle that I have so much. Oh, nope, that's somebody else's logo. Let's not show you that one. Because I don't have my notes printed up yet. Okay. Logo. I mean, you can go look at my website. It's on there. Whoop. Thanks, Diane. I think it looks very beautiful too. I'll put my that. There. Oh, but it put my boots up. It didn't put up the logo. But if you click on that, you'll see the logo up in the top left. But it needs to go on the top of my class notes and patterns. And I need a little something square to put on social media. And, different shapes of the different variations. So we'll see what I get. We'll see what I get. And the person who I'm using, whose name I can't even think of right now, is a friend of somebody just like me, so they understand the industry I work in because they are good friends with somebody who does stuff like I do. So that may help. I don't know. So this month is February, and I'm in the middle of teaching the crochet class, and I'm enjoying that. It's a very interesting sweater I have on. I'm enjoying that, and I'm wanting to do, my goal is to do a class, 1 or 2 session project class every month. January's didn't go. It was the Fair Isle bag or bowl. Perhaps it's because that name was just too amazing. This month it's crochet granny stripes and squares, but it's actually also a start from scratch crochet class. I kind of polled my people when I sent them the Zoom link for the session. I said, so tell me about your experiences with crochet, so I know what I'm getting into, and I said, you've never touched a hook before, or you've tried a few things and really just need a refresher, or you're fine with crochet but just want to hang out with Sarah for a couple hours. So it was mostly tried crochet and just want some refreshing. The person who admitted that they really didn't need help and just wanted to hang out with me for a few hours was the first person who admitted that they learned something. So I felt like that was a victory. I've just taken out all my pins. Now I don't know how much I did each week. Oh my gosh. So I don't know. I was in the middle of a story. Crochet. We did classes. Yep. So we started with, that's what it was. So we started with Slipknot and went up through double crochet, even though I knew that they all had crocheted before. And the Slipknot was the first thing where somebody learned something. So obviously it was okay to start with a Slipknot. And it's not like you're stupid because you don't know Slipknot. It's like, did you know this about the Slipknot? It's like, all the things you don't know about the Slipknot. So I think that's a good thing. That's the kind of stuff I want to find out about. So that's what I'm teaching. So that was my crochet class. So for March, back to that story, my class is going to be, oh, you can't see it. Let me grab it. Let's see if I can grab it without falling over the dog or something. There might be barking. Whoop. I thought you'd be able to see it. So I'm going to teach my my cable class, which starts with basic cables and ends with a hat. So that'll be a two-parter also. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? How do I aim it? There we go. Whoop. Whoop. So that'll be my March class. And I need to get that on the schedule because guess what? It's almost March. So I need to get... This is the weirdest thing. I need to get it on my schedule. So that's on my one of the lists that I had to dig under to get to this list that I just made. I don't know. So cables, if you want to get more confident with your cables, or if you've never done cables, stay tuned because I will be there to help you. So first class will be left-leaning and right-leaning regular old rope cables worked flat, and then we'll work in the round for the second class and start a hat, and then do cables that move around. So this part right here, that would be a rope cable, and then things start moving. Those are cables too, even though they're not looking like cables, but they are. Ooh. So that's coming up in March, but I haven't scheduled it yet, but it'll be Sundays from 6:30 to 8:30 because that's when I'm teaching. That's how I go. And then I also, well, first I'll ask if there's any questions. Did somebody say something? Isn't the top of the hat pretty? That was sort of an accident. I mean, you know, when the cables all crashed together, that's lovely, and I was hoping it would be pretty, but it's really pretty. So there you go. Trying to put all my stitch markers that I took out of the there's no one out of the poncho, put them into my nice neat stitch marker filing system. So that's what I'm doing over here. And I really just have one more thing to talk about. So if you have any questions, let me know and I'll talk about that, and then it'll take longer. Well, I put these pins on. Is that all I really had? I wrote it all down. That's what I had to tell you about. No questions. So, last week, I sent out my newsletter. I already said that. And I mentioned the crochet class, and I got another person, thank you Debbie, because I mentioned it in the newsletter. And what's going on here? Trying to put, so when I bought this pretty thing, it had all these pretty stitch markers hanging off of this little dangly chain, and so I've used them, and now I'm trying to put them back on, and it is not an easy thing. So I probably don't have to put it on there. So I also tried to make it easier for my newsletter readers to find out about what my Patreon account was all about. So I wrote cut and pasted the levels of the Patreon account into my newsletter and sent it off. And one of my friends wrote back and said that it wasn't clear, like it was too vague how it was laid out. And I agreed. So I will just tell you that I have tightened it up and put new descriptions in without really changing anything. I took away one of the tiers because, unbeknownst to me, you can only see 3 at a time. And I had 4 because when I was researching the way people were doing their Patreon accounts, a lot of people had 4, and for some reason I knew that. I could see that. But when I made mine public and you go to the page, it shows you 3, and then it would say click for more or click to see all or something like that. I don't remember. So that was kind of silly. So I was sad about that. And then Yep. So then my friend sent me a thing that said, you're not really clear about what the different levels are about. So since I agreed, I worked on that. So I'm putting the link in the thingy again in the chat in the comments. So I tightened it up. So there's 3 tiers now, and the first tier. So what Patreon is a way to support somebody whose work you admire, so that you show them your support by contributing a small dollar amount every month. And what it would do for me, I work hard and I make money and I can pay my bills, but I feel guilty about doing anything else. I never can relax and take the time to just explore the things I've always wanted to explore that I used to do when I was younger. um, I just feel guilty that I'm spending time on play, basically creative play. So what this does is supports me in that. It says, it's worth seeing what you can do. Um, and so in return, at the first level, you'll get my undying love and gratitude, and you'll also get to witness um, the excitement of my progress through my knitting life and crochet life and sewing life and embroidery life, and there will probably be a weaving life. Um, and the next tier, the middle tier, will have a little more excitement. They'll have I One of the things that I have been doing is writing. And I'm an editor. I've always been interested in words as well as fiber. So one of the things in that tier is words that make you laugh, an ongoing blog entry or subject, I guess. The first one was arugula, and we all laughed about arugula. And the second one was baba ganoush. And my story about baba ganoush is that I always wanted to have a cat as an adult. I always wanted to have a cat named Baba Ganoush, so I could open the door, and it would be an indoor outdoor cat. So I could open the door and I could say, Baba Ganoush, out into the neighborhood. And strangely, my children would never let me name a cat Baba Ganoush. So I've not had that pleasure. But I'm still young, and there are cats to come. So probably, and my children don't live in the house anymore. So I'm thinking the next cat will be named Baba Ganoush, and I'll let them out once. Even if I never let them out, I can still pretend that I let them out, and I can open the door and go, Baba Ganoush. See, words that make you laugh. So C will be coming out shortly. I was thinking about it yesterday while I was walking around, or trying to walk around the block on the ice between the 50 degrees and the 5 degrees. So that's one example. And then you'll also, at the middle tier, you'll also be able to vote on what projects and crafts and endeavors I work on next. I used a power drill. That was new. So I put that in there, and there's so much I want to do. And then the third tier, there will be more access to me. So there's a monthly Zoom along, and we're going to maybe do so the way a project along independently from the Zoom along, and I'll give some studio tours of the workings behind me. The project alongs will run very similarly to the Zoom along that I do with Woven Art on Wednesdays for an hour, where every month we have a theme, but you don't have to follow the theme, but you get points for creative attempts to follow the theme. So, for example, and through Patreon, it won't be monthly. I don't think it'll just be projectly. Like, let's work on a shawl, or let's work on a poncho. Hey, I'm done already. Woot. Yeah, stuff like that. So February's theme for Woven Art was 2, because that's very clever. I didn't want to do Valentine's Day because some people don't like Valentine's Day. But 2 would work for Valentine's Day. Plus, it's the second month. So I was working on the poncho because it has two colors. Excuse me. And somebody else was working on a sleeve because there's two sleeves. You know, that kind of creative interpretation or trying to fit the theme. So that's the third tier. So 1, 2, 3. And I think the descriptions are more descripty. And so hopefully, hopefully that's good and a better explanation. And that's where I'm going to be from now on. This is my last Facebook Live on Monday at 5. Not everybody likes Facebook. I'm fine with it, but ready to explore these other options. And I'd like to still, there'll be some zooming, we'll get the zoomies on Patreon, but I also want to figure out something else, either a YouTube thing where I can use. My son's a video editor, so that shouldn't be too horrible, except he doesn't have a computer right now. So he's a worthless video editor right now. So I can't promise what I'll do besides the things that I've written on the Patreon account, because right now I don't know how to do YouTube, and right now I don't know how to do, I don't know, the thing that I don't know how to do yet. I mean, there's Slack. I don't like Slack. So we'll figure out other ways to get together, but that's where I'm going to be. I'm not going to be here. I'll be here, but I won't be here. But I'll be here. And I hope to see you there, wherever that is. Okay? So thanks for coming along for the ride. And I'll see you somewhere else. Okay? Oh, that sounds like okay. I'll see you around. Bye.